lean toward similar to a basketball hockey schedule, where it's going to run over both semesters, but maybe not the entirety of an entire school year. I think that would be too overwhelming and wouldn't be in line with, if it's married in a collegiate sport level, it's not going to be consistent with other sports. No sport runs the entire year. We have non-traditional, traditional, and basketball and hockey just sort of do run both semesters. But then you are dealing with, are you then dealing with eligibility, ineligibility, all these other types of things that right now are not a factor.
So there's no necessarily no regulation that says, what you're saying is that Becker could be playing year-round. There could be another one, Tyrell, just you're playing 8 months, eight months, and then you're playing 3 months or whatever it may be. So right now there's no standard regulatory group out there.
No, we try to play a couple of tournaments, in the fall on campus, and then now we're trying to move into maybe some online competitions or reach out to other colleges to see if either we can go there, they can come here, those types of things. So I think that's still in process until someone sort of gives us all some direction, I think, on which way to go.
Just to answer to that, so the amount of conferences and governing bodies that you're in, there's NACE, there's ECAC, NECC, you have TESPA, you have Collegiate, Star League. There's a wide variety that you can join. With us, it's a heavy schedule. At any given moment, we do practice 2 hours for each game. Per night, some of our players are doing 2 teams. So they're pretty much practicing 4 hours a day on top of an hour workout a week. That's just once for each team. And then we do a study block to give them the educational and success student needs that they can use to forward their GPAs and increase that. But with these leagues and the government bodies I just mentioned, you can have, let's say, Collegiate, Star League, ECAC, and let's say TESPA all have a match on Tuesday. How do you manage that? ECAC will do like an 8 p.m. game, but even though it's scheduled for 8, they'll allow us to make the hours up. So if we can talk to, let's say, Becker, hey Becker, let's set this match at 3 p.m. Our students have class at night, right? But that's kind of on us. And then you can play your next match. That'll open up the pool. But then if you have ECAC, NECC, and NACE, they have a scheduled game on Wednesday. You just have to figure out, how you balance and put your schedule to fit and compete in all those games.
Just a little add on to that, just to be clear. Right now, to be perfectly honest with you, I know we've used the term caliber several times. When it comes to a lot of tournaments, it is the Wild West to a large extent. You have some games that have structured tournaments like TESPA that are organized by the creators of the games themselves to a large extent. And those are considered, the major tournaments, and they have a set schedule for that. For CSL, that is kind of a, they wanted to try to get into the space and try to create their own tournaments in that situation. It's a lesser tournament. It's more of off-the-cuff tournament for that. It's good practice, but it's not considered like one of the bigger tournaments. But hopefully with the NECC, there's something that you can actually get and have more of a standardized, tournaments to be practicing for, so to be competing in, because there are literally 500 colleges out there with esports teams that you could play, and you're only going to play a very small percentage of them. Which percentage? Obviously, you probably want to be something local, right? That'd be a little more interesting, and that's something that, and make sure that they're around the same level, because they're all over the place when it comes to level. I'll tell you that, and that's why it's kind of not exactly clear on the schedules, exactly which colleges are participating in what. You're in ECC, or we're not in that, or you're in this, I'm not in that. But usually one or two big tournaments that majority of colleges are looking into, and that usually sets the schedule for most of the practices you have there.
What's the percentage of students who are really considering turning professional?
Say again?
What's the percentage of students who are really considering turning professional?
The standards?
I mean, no, are they considering?
Oh, are they translating? Okay, so I'm actually coming from a unique positioning where before being in the collegiate sphere, I was in the endemic esports, working for Cloud9 and the London Spitfire. So as far as being able to translate from collegiate to professional, as a player, it is absolutely something that can happen, but it's something that is going to be, I'll be honest with you, a little bit difficult right now, because of the amount of practice required to go into the professional will conflict heavily with a college schedule. It simply will. Trying to be a college student full-time and a professional player full-time is a lot to ask for. When I was coaching for the Cloud9 in that situation, we were literally scrimming about 30 hours a week. So that's compared to the 4 hours a week on average most colleges teams have. You can see the big difference in that respect. However, that doesn't mean that there aren't plenty people being able to go on to there afterwards. At the very top of the collegiate sphere right now, you do have some great teams who are from colleges who are obviously investing very heavily into it, but they can compete with some of the, say, the minor league teams of these professional teams. And there are players that are able to take that jump from there to professional scene. And there's also professional players coming from the professional scene down to the collegiate scene in a reverse situation because of both offers as well as opportunities and using their talents and their experience to be able to do something in addition to playing that sphere. But I think the big thing as well is being able to take your experience here in collegiate and be able to apply it toward esports, not just as a player, but through other aspects of esports organizations, team managers, community managers, coaches, all sorts of different positions with there. So it's honestly, it's gonna be difficult to go from collegiate to professional. I would say maybe 0.1% of students can do that right now. However, as collegiate team catches up, as everything really starts gelling together, I see that gap getting a lot smaller. And I see that possibly growing a lot. And I can see literally colleges being kind of like the minor league teams for a lot of professional teams.
Questions? Go ahead.
Tyrell, you mentioned this really quick. I'm just wondering if you could speak towards your current level of recruiting, how much you do and what channels you do that through.
Ooh, that's a good question. I kind of wanted to touch on that, but I'll get back to it. I would say recruiting, it's definitely a fun tool. I really don't travel for recruiting. There's multiple ways to do it. I know you were hosting some of the tournaments out in New Jersey, and we partnered before. So one of the projects, I was able to send him a package with some of our brochures and informative pamphlets that would help the high school students that you were bringing on for tournaments to get into college. And we saw some of those players that were admitted now. But there's multiple channels. So you have your Discord. Discord is a new tool that you can use to contact and be in communication with players. And this is like the #1 tool across the board for recruitment. For me, I'm able to host interviews and meet people one-on-one. I think it's very important to meet the people that you're bringing on board, and just to get a feel for the personality. With Discord, there's multiple channels like High School Esports League. You have Recruit Rivals. High School Esports League has about 10,000 to 30,000 plus, if not more than that right now. And there's more community members that are joining that. But I think the important piece is to look at your local area. There's a lot of high schools that are part of these leagues, and